Final Fantasy VIII. I am in the camp of absolutely loving all things Final Fantasy VIII. It's one of my favorite Final Fantasies to play, and I have been thoroughly enjoying playing it on PC because the modding scene has continued to get better and better for it. It might not be on par with what we get for Final Fantasy VII, and it might not be on par with what we get for Final Fantasy IX, but I see that the future is bright. And in today's video, I want to showcase some of those mods that make Final Fantasy VIII great to play on PC. So with that being said, what is up guys, Jen here, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. As always, got you covered, timestamps down below, so if you want to skip to a certain mod that we talk about in today's video, then feel free to skip there. All I ask is you to support the channel and hit that like button, and if you want to stick around for some more Final Fantasy content, then please consider hitting that subscribe button. Now before we go any deeper, I have been using the 2013 version of Final Fantasy VIII on Steam. You can do a lot of these mods with the remastered version, but I don't have the remastered version, nor have I modded the remastered version. So for those that are wondering, that's what we're focusing on today's video. It is the Steam 2013 release. And if you don't have this release, well, I've got you covered in the description and the pinned comment down below, because I can get you Final Fantasy VIII, the 2013 version and the remastered version on PC at an incredible price by using the links down below. So with that out of the way, let's talk all things Final Fantasy VIII. Now, there's a couple of things I want to focus on. First, I want to talk about a launcher that has recently been introduced, that will be constantly getting updated and upgraded, and that is the Junction 8 mod manager for Final Fantasy VIII. This works a lot like the 7th Heaven mod launcher. You don't need to do very much. You just open the executable and the rest is history. As long as you've got Final Fantasy VIII, the 2013 version, this will click with it straight away. And it offers some mods, only very few at the moment, but it offers mods to enhance the experience, and I want to shout some of those out. We have the Poly Up mod, and essentially what this does is it replaces all main character poly models with their high-res versions. And not only that, there's a few extras to mess around with to have different models of Squall. Next up, we have Echo S8. This is just a demo, and it only goes up to Timber at the moment, but as you can hear in a preview that I'm going to give you in just a second, it adds voice acting to the game. It also adds sound effects during cutscenes as well, so when Squall and Cypher are fighting during the intro, you can hear the huh, yeah, and all of that. It really just adds a bit more immersion for Final Fantasy VIII, and it's there for you to have a look so you can get a taste of what will happen when they eventually release the full version. Again, kudos to the team, because this takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and I'm really excited to see what the end product is going to look like.
Objective: to obtain a low-level GF, a seed member must support. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm his support. Instructor number 14, Quista's Trap.
Select a time limit. Choose one suited to your abilities. Challenging, yet reasonable.
Come on, Squall. You can do so much better than that. Right?
Next up, we have the Cinema Refinery mod, and essentially this changes all the FMVs and boosts them up to 30 frames per second, because the original on the PlayStation only ran at 15. So these look silky smooth and just make Final Fantasy VIII look that little bit better. Next up, we have Axl Rose's WIP. This is a work in progress, it's incomplete, but essentially what this is doing at the moment is it's upscaling all of the backgrounds, all of the character textures, some UI enhancements. So you've got this nice blue text box that looks like Final Fantasy IX, or you can use a black one, whatever floats your boat. And essentially, it's just going to fully enhance all the graphical capabilities of Final Fantasy VIII on PC. And then the last one I want to shout out is the OST Refined, the arranged soundtrack. This is a complete reorchestration of the entire Final Fantasy VIII score, done by one person in the same studio for a consistent and immersive experience. And Mike does audio, does an incredible job here. He not only does the soundtrack here for the OST refined, he has his own YouTube channel called Final Fantasy and Chill. So if you want some nice lo-fi beats, then I will point you in that direction because it's always a good time. So essentially that's everything when it comes to the Junction 8 mod manager. Again, this is very easy to set up and it only has a few mods at the moment, but this is being constantly updated. Things are being added, and I'm sure this time next year there's going to be a full-fledged amount of mods that will really change up Final Fantasy VIII and bring it on par with what the mods do for Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy IX on PC. Next, I want to move over to what you've probably been seeing mostly in this video, and that is a lot of the graphical enhancements. Now, I got to point you over to the Quim forums. This is an old school forum. I say old school, it's still being used. It's been around since the beginning of time when it comes to mods for Final Fantasy on PC, and I'll have a link down below to the exact topic that I used and got all my downloads from to make it look what it is, and I'm going to list some of these off so you know what you're getting. So first up, we have the Seed Reborn mod, which enhances the title screen, the game menus, the character and Guardian Force avatars, the text, the icons, magazines, the buttons, all of the things that you see. This mainly changes, and you do have a little bit of customization to go off as well. Now, this isn't something that you can just install and it does it for you. You do need to do some dragging and dropping, and you're probably asking me, Jen, could we have a tutorial on this? Honestly, I am not a tutorial guy. My best advice is to just look up. There's plenty out there on YouTube. I found it relatively easy to do. But the next thing we got here is the Horizon Pack. This is a world terrain, changes the world map, the towns, the cities, the roads, the sky, the world effects, the world objects, you name it. All of these things on the world map have been enhanced with upscale graphics to give Final Fantasy VIII that little extra shine. Next up, we have Project Angel Wing. This is an AI upscale for all of the pre-rendered backgrounds. So your nice new looking 3D models don't look like they're on pixelated backgrounds. They have backgrounds that mostly match and above all enhance your experience with Final Fantasy VIII. Next up, I'm going to bunch these all together. We've got the Battlefield Pack, we have the Rebirth Flame, we also have Project Hellfire, and we have Apocalypse along with Lunar Cry. These are all battle-related graphics. So the Battlefield Pack enhances the 3D environment of which you fight on. Rebirth Flame upscales the characters and the weapons that they're carrying. Project Hellfire gives the Guardian Forces a much-needed texture boost. And Apocalypse and Lunar Cry upscale the bosses and all of the enemies respectively. So to get all this to work, you need something called Tombury. This is essentially just a folder that you drag into the main directory of Final Fantasy VIII. The page itself tells you exactly what you needed to do, so the links are down there below. Last but not least, we are flipping over to Nexus mods here because there's a couple of gameplay mods I would like to talk about. First up, I want to talk about Final Fantasy VIII Crystal mod. This completely overhauls the game and made it quite a pleasure to play because I did play this on stream and I liked a lot of the changes. So essentially, the Final Fantasy VII Crystal mod is a gameplay mod designed to give a new way to play Final Fantasy VIII by making each playable character more distinct, strengthening and redesigning enemies, and adding new content. Now, junctioning has been de-emphasized in favor of a more meaningful stat gain from leveling, and each character is assigned a GF with abilities tailored to them, essentially making this like a job system. So for example, Squall is more like the paladin here, so he is only allowed to use curative spells and a few black magic spells, but he's obviously got boosted strength and will have abilities that support that. There's a lot to mess around with here. It's nice to have a few restrictions on your characters, so you're not drawing left, right, and center. You can only have your characters using certain things. Not only that, new enemies have been added and existing ones have been reworked with new abilities and gimmicks. New side quests have been added and making existing ones more meaningful, sometimes rewarding items that teach abilities that can't be found anywhere else. Now, the mod's difficulty level is intended to make fights challenging, engaging without being too harsh, and you'll get a taste of this straight away when you fight an Ifrit in the Fire Cavern, because that boss battle works out a little bit differently and you need to be prepared for that one. But Crystal mod was a thoroughly good time to play. And last but not least, I want to talk about the Xylo mod overhaul. Now, all of those enhancements that I spoke about from the Quim forums are included in this. So if you want to skip that part and have it all in one package with a gameplay mod as well, then the Xylo mod might be for you. This changes a lot of things. The gameplay experience completely different. Monsters still grow on strength with your leveling, but they're locked in stat growth. You'll be able to draw and mug better spells and items on higher level monsters while still getting pretty much identical difficulty. The triple triad has a graphical change, all cards are reworked. New recipes, shops and prices have been included to make gameplay that a little bit more different. Magic has been completely reworked. Status and elemental weaknesses are now linked, meaning that you will know which status an enemy can be put by scanning it just by looking at its type. So for example, fire is linked with the blind status element. Guardian Force growth, learning trees, compatibility mechanic and summon utility. Now the Guardian Forces, they should prove much weaker early on in the game because you start with 0 compatibility, therefore a very long summoning time. You'll need to level them up from level 1 to have access to her abilities. And that's not it. There's many small yet interesting changes in the scenarios, including music changes, rewards for quests, and a new way to tackle the Queen of Cards quest. But the most appealing thing here for me personally is the job changes. So instead of a weapon remodel, you don't just change the weapon, you change your entire costume. It doesn't affect your combat abilities in any way, and it's purely cosmetic, but this just adds a new spin when you unlock a new weapon. Not only are you getting a new weapon, you're getting a costume and a job name along with it, just so you can mix and match and just enjoy the game that little bit more. So there's a lot here in this mod. I've not played it personally, but it seems like it's something I might want to play. And again, this comes with all of the graphical mods that I've mentioned from the forums. I will try my best to make sure that these are all linked separately down in the description box so you can find these all. But I need you to remember this was all done for me personally using the Steam 2013 version. You can do this with the remaster version, but you have to jump through a few more bells and whistles to get there. But again, I've got you covered in the links down below if you want to get Final Fantasy VIII, the 2013 version, and the remastered version at a discounted price. So go ahead, get it done, and load these mods for yourself to enjoy. That's about it when it comes to these mods for Final Fantasy VIII. I would say out of the 3, Final Fantasy VII, 8 and 9, Final Fantasy VIII is the weakest at the moment when it comes to mods, but there are definitely some damn good mods there to mess around with, and I feel like with the introduction of the Junction 8 mod launcher and all the mods that are being worked on that, we are just scratching the surface. I appreciate your time. Any questions, leave them down below in the comment section. I'll try my best to answer them to the best of my abilities, but for now I will thank you for your time, and until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.